What if everything you thought about mental strength was wrong? What if the strongest mind isn't the one that hides pain, but the one that faces it fully? We start with a surprising truth. The mind that can't be broken is the one that dares to feel. It's not made of steel, it's made of honesty. We'll explore how facing fear, sadness, and even failure without running away actually makes you powerful. Think of it like a cracked vase repaired with gold. The cracks don't ruin it, they make it beautiful. That's what happens when you stop pretending and start seeing your wounds as wisdom. The strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, learn, and rise differently. True power is born from softness that doesn't break, only bends. Long before therapy and self-help books, the ancients knew how to build minds that could survive anything. They didn't have smartphones or motivational quotes, but they had deep inner practices. The Stoics believed in training the mind like a muscle. The yogis found peace in chaos by going within. The Taoists moved with life instead of fighting it. This section dives into ancient secrets, how people like Marcus Aurelius, Arjuna, and Lao Tzu built mental strength by aligning with nature, truth, and inner order. They saw the mind not as a battlefield, but as a temple, and they protected. Like sacred ground, these teachings still work today. You don't need more noise to be strong. You need a foundation built from the inside out. The truth is hard to hear. Most of what breaks us comes from within. It's not the outside world that destroys our peace. It's the voices inside our head. Fear pretending to be logic. Doubt wearing the mask of safety. This section is about those hidden mental traps. Where did they come from? Why do they feel so real? And more importantly, how do we break free? Using simple ideas from brain science and ancient wisdom, we'll show how your mind can trick you into living small. But when you see these lies for what they are, they lose their power. The mind that sees clearly becomes impossible to control. And the moment you stop believing every thought, you become free. Most people are living in a mental prison they've never even noticed. We're taught to obey, to fit in, to stay quiet. But what if that's the very thing making us fragile? What if sanity isn't following the crowd, but waking up from the dream everyone is stuck in? In this section, we explore how to become a quiet rebel, not by fighting the world, but by walking away from its lies. We'll talk about Plato's cave, the idea of waking sleep, and why so many mystics warned us about blindly following society. To build a mind no one can break, you have to question everything. You have to leave the crowd, not with anger, but with clarity. Strength isn't loud, it's free. In a noisy world, stillness is rare and powerful. When everyone else is chasing, shouting, and scrolling, the strongest people are the ones who know how to be still. In this section, we uncover the power of silence. Not silence as in doing nothing, but a deep inner quiet that changes everything. This is the kind of silence monks and mystics have used for centuries. It's where real answers come from. You don't need more thoughts, you need space to hear the truth, the E. In this still space, the mind heals, resets, and becomes strong. Stillness isn't weakness, it's clarity, and it might be the most powerful thing you can ever learn. Here comes the big shift, the moment that changes everything. You are not your mind, you're not your thoughts, you're the one who watches them. This might sound strange at first, but it's one of the oldest spiritual truths ever taught. Your real self is not the voice in your head. It's the quiet awareness that sees it all. This section brings that idea to life, with stories, examples, and simple ways to feel the truth of it. When you stop identifying with the mind, it can't be broken, because you're no longer trapped inside it. You become like the sky, calm, wide, unshaken, even if clouds come and go. Here's a truth most people run from. The strongest mind is the one that's ready to let go of who it thinks it is. Most people fear the death of their ego more than physical death, but ego death is not the end. It's a beginning. In this section, we explore the powerful idea of dying before you die, letting go of names, labels, pride, and all the masks we wear. Rumi spoke of it. The Buddhists teach it. People who've had near-death experiences often return transformed, not afraid anymore. When you stop clinging to identity, no one can control you. Nothing can break you, because you've already let go of what was never real. We end with the deepest truth of all. The mind that cannot break isn't hard. It's soft. It moves. It adapts. It bends but never shatters. Like water, like wind, like truth. The strongest mind is not one that resists everything, but one that flows through it, untouched. In this final reflection, we return to the core idea. The mind doesn't need to become invincible. It already is. Once you remember who you truly are. Not your thoughts, not your story, but pure awareness, timeless, silent, unshaken. The journey isn't about adding anything. It's about remembering. You were never meant to break. What if strength isn't about holding on, but about letting go? Most people think a strong mind is one that fights, resists, and never shows weakness. But maybe that idea is completely wrong. What really makes someone mentally unbreakable? Is it grit, toughness, pretending to be okay when you're falling apart? Or is it something deeper, something that can't be seen or touched? We set the stage for a journey, not one of willpower or motivation, but of truth. A truth most people are afraid to face. We suggest that maybe, just maybe, the strongest mind isn't one that survives the storm, but one that becomes the storm's calm center. To build a mind that can't be broken, we first have to ask, why do most minds fall apart in the first place? This section explores what makes us fragile, our need to control everything, our fear of loss, our clinging to identity, and our deep desire to be seen a certain way. We talk about how the world trains us to build a self-image, a version of ourselves we think we have to protect. But when life hits hard, through loss, betrayal, failure, that image shatters. And with it, so do we. We'll explore ideas from Carl Jung, Buddhist teachings, and modern psychology to show how we trap ourselves in mental prisons we didn't even know we built. Once we understand what makes us fragile, we can begin the real work, becoming free. This is where everything changes. Here we talk about something almost no one wants to hear. Pain isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. The mind that can't be broken is not the one that avoids suffering, but the one that transforms because of it. We introduce the idea of anti-fragility, getting stronger every time life tries to knock you down. We'll show how ancient warriors, Stoic philosophers, and spiritual seekers didn't run from difficulty. They welcomed it. They knew pain could purify, shape, and sharpen the mind. Now we dive deeper. What if the part of you that feels fear, shame, and insecurity isn't really you at all? This section takes us into the idea of the ego, the identity we believe we are. But what happens when that identity is stripped away? What's left? We talk about ego death, not as a dramatic idea, but as a peaceful realization. Zen monks, mystics, and philosophers throughout history have said the same thing. When you let go of who you think you are, you start to discover what you really are, and that real part of you, it can't be broken. Now we begin the real building, but we're not building with bricks, we're building with silence, with presence, with stillness. In this section, we explore the daily practices that help you build a mind that stands strong, no matter what life throws at it. Not because it's hard, but because it's open, still grounded. We look at tools like deep meditation, journaling, solitude, and self-inquiry. These aren't just habits, they're ways to train your awareness. To become the kind of person who can sit in silence and still feel complete, we show how history's greatest minds, Rumi, Marcus Aurelius, Lao Tzu, found peace by going inward, not outward. The real fortress isn't about escaping the world. It's about standing tall within it. Here's the twist. Even people with strong minds get tested, sometimes brutally. Viktor Frankl survived a concentration camp. Spiritual leaders have been tortured, exiled, broken physically. But something inside them remained untouched. This section reminds us that being unbreakable doesn't mean life won't hurt you. It means that when life does hurt you, you don't lose yourself. We talk about how chaos, pain, and failure are not signs of weakness. They're invitations to go deeper, to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's inside me that cannot be broken? This is the part of the journey where we face our biggest fears and discover they don't have the final word. We end with a quiet question, one only you can answer. When everything falls apart, what's still there? In this final section, we hold up a mirror. You've gone on the journey. You've looked at pain, ego, silence, and strength. Now it's time to sit with the truth that's always been inside you. You don't need to become unbreakable. You only need to remember who you really are, and that can never be broken.